name is David Lee. I'm a third generation musician, fifth generation Texan, born in Wichita Falls. Grew up in Mesquite my young life and then lived in Lampasas, Texas, so kind of all over. In my early years with music, I guess my first inspiration was my stepsister, Sheila. She played music. When I was a little kid, I'd watch her play and I was very inspired by watching her perform and at family functions, you know, around campfires out at the lake and stuff like that. And when I was 10 years old, she killed herself. And I inherited her guitar. And I guess that's kind of where the very beginning of where music began for me. When I was 13, I was, well, probably 12 years old, I met my dad for the first time. I knew my dad was a musician, had traveled Texas, played all honky-tonks just like this one. But I didn't know him. I couldn't have picked him out of the lineup at that time. My mother couldn't handle me anymore, so she called my dad, and Dad showed up on the front steps one night, and he had a guitar in his hand and had a cowboy hat. He put it on my head, gave me that guitar. He sat down and he played My Heroes Have Always Been Cowboys. And right then, at that moment, I knew that I was going to be a musician. I knew that that was the course of my life, and that was what was going to happen for me. And I threw myself into it 110%. And in fact, went to live with my dad. And at the time of moving down to live with him, he was playing in honky tonks, and he was in drugs and alcohol and everything else. It was a bad time. And then we lived way out in the country, and we spent a lot of time going to honky tonks, watching my dad play, and a lot of alcohol was involved in my life. It kind of framed my childhood. My stepdad also was an alcoholic, and so music for me, I guess, was an escape. It was an escape from reality because of the stories that the guys told in those songs, and those stories. I wanted to create those stories. I wanted to write those stories, and I think in that desire to want to do that, that's how I became a songwriter. At 13, I wrote my first song, my first fully formed song, I would call it. It was called Ghost in a Songwriter's Dream. It was kind of a weird song. I couldn't even play it today, but I created that and played with my buddies in high school and continued to learn and grow, and heard guys like Guy Clark and Billy Joe Shaver and great Texas songwriters. They inspired me, and then I wrote some other kinds of songs, different, you know, more rocking kind of stuff, I guess you'd say, because I was young, and when you're young, you kind of into that thing. But then I found Waylon Jennings. I found Waylon's music, and it was, you know, Billy Joe, of course, wrote a lot of that stuff, but I found Waylon's music and the energy and the intensity and the darkness of it I kind of related to it, I guess. And I threw myself into that, and those were the songs that I guess inspired me the most to want to be a singer-songwriter. The day after graduation, Dad told me, you can go to work with me on the concrete job pouring concrete, or you can find a way to go to college, which we didn't have the money to do, or you can do whatever, but you're not going to stay here rent-free. You know, you're going to do something.